WBOC News at 7.
With less than 2 weeks to go until the presidential election, the candidates are out in full force, hitting the campaign trail hard this weekend, and how sentences in Virginia courts could change now for some defendants.
And another beautiful day in the books, but yes, that all changes for tomorrow. We're going to chat coming up.
Covering all of Delmarva, this is WBOC News at 7, Delmarva's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Cassie Semyon. Welcome to WBOC News at 7. Just over a week before Election Day, President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are on a busy weekend campaign schedule, targeting states that are key to winning the White House. With a new jump in COVID-19 cases around the U.S., the pandemic is a prime topic for both candidates. CBS News correspondent Michael George has the latest from New York, one of the many states where early voting has already begun.
President Trump voted at a library in West Palm Beach, Florida, not far from his Mar-a-Lago estate, then headed to the battleground state of North Carolina. At a rally in the town of Lumberton, the president said coronavirus cases are surging because of increased testing.
That's all I hear about now. That's all I hear. Turn on television. Right? COVID, 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 COVID. By the way, on November 4th, you won't hear about it anymore. COVID! COVID, please don't go and vote.
The president also holds rallies in Ohio and Wisconsin today.
I'll shut down the virus, not the economy.
At the first of two drive-in rallies in Pennsylvania, Democratic challenger Joe Biden continued to slam the president's handling of the pandemic.
What I told him at the debate, we're not learning how to live with it. You're asking us to learn how to die with it.
And after a Philadelphia rally this week, former President Barack Obama campaigned in Miami for his two-term VP.
He also sat down with 60 Minutes. He was asked, what's your priority in your second term? What did Trump say? He got mad and walked out of the interview. He thought the questions were too tough.
Like many early voters across the nation, people stood in long lines in New York City.
They probably could have opened a couple more early voting areas, but I get it. And this is day one.
Our vote is our voice, so we need to make sure that everything that we want to see the country be, we at least put our vote forward.
So far, 53 million Americans have cast early ballots, shattering records. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
When he voted this morning, President Trump said his experience was perfect, adding that it was a very secure vote. Delaware State Police are investigating a deadly crash that happened in Bridgeville early this morning. The crash happened on Coverdale Road just north of Nat Turner Drive, about 3 miles east of Bridgeville. Police say the driver of a car traveling northbound on a Coverdale Road was speeding, which caused another driver to overcorrect their car and hit a utility pole. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The crash remains under investigation. Now to Virginia, where for the first time in more than 200 years, criminal defendants will have the option to be sentenced by judges rather than juries of their peers. The bill was passed by the Virginia legislature, and Governor Ralph Northam is expected to sign the measure soon. The proposal sparked fierce debate during a special legislative session focused on criminal justice and police reform. Supporters of the change said giving judges the sentencing responsibility will result in fairer sentences, but prosecutors predicted it will result in more jury trials and require additional judges, court clerks, and public defenders. It's time to clean out your bathroom cabinets. Today is National Drug Take Back Day. A 2018 study says 9.9 million Americans misused controlled prescription drugs. This day was created to combat this misuse. Anyone can drop off unused or expired prescription medication to your local police department. Police say proper disposal saves lives. No needles, sharps, or liquids are accepted. In Washington, D.C. today, flags were on display for those who lost their battle with COVID-19. Artist Suzanne Brennan Firstenberg, a local D.C. artist, has installed thousands of small white flags that line the grassy area across from the D.C. Armory, representing those who have died after contracting COVID-19. It's been a beautiful and almost summer-like Saturday here on Delmarva as we take a live look into Rehoboth Beach with our Boardwalk Plaza hotel camera. Meteorologist Heidi Warosta says we can expect a much different story tomorrow. Heidi joins us in the Storm Tracker Weather Center with the latest. Heidi, it felt like almost an August day, not the end of October at all.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Some areas got to near 80 degrees. Tomorrow, those highs about 59. So we're going to see that change. In fact, we're already starting to see that change as the cold front continues to push through. If we draw it on the map, it is pretty much just offshore. It's not quite changing those temps just yet, but when you wake up tomorrow morning, you will definitely notice those change as tonight's lows will fall to about 51 degrees, still hanging on to those 70s, if not the upper 60s there, 67 in Dover as we speak. But in addition to the falling temperatures, the winds will turn blustery, and then that's also where we have to introduce the chances of rain. Now, between the 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. hour, I do think it's going to stay sporadic, then slowly become widespread, if you want to call it that, on the lighter amounts through your day tomorrow. Of course, we have a further breakdown of this coming up.
All right, thank you, Heidi. Making headlines tonight, yesterday the U.S. reported its highest number of COVID-19 infections in one day since the start of this pandemic. Hospitalizations have increased by 33% this month. Health officials are now concerned that this will lead to an increase in the death toll in a few weeks. CNN's Polo Sandoval reports.
This DC art display is a visual representation of the lives taken by a virus that seems to be surging again. Over 223,000 dead and counting. More than 8 months into the COVID crisis, hospitalizations and infections are at an all-time high in many states across the country. This week marked the first time since late July that the number of daily new cases exceeded 71,000.
If you look at the numbers of the daily infections, the upticks on the map of more than 30 states that are having upticks, it's not going to spontaneously turn around unless we do something about it.
As the president claims that we are rounding the turn on the pandemic, his opponent and many medical experts are warning we are only headed toward a dark winter.
The reality is that the worst could be yet to come, and that the beginning has been more or less the warm-up act for what's about to hit. And we're already seeing that across the northern states. If you look at a COVID-19 heat map, the whole northern part is lit up.
With hope hanging on a safe COVID-19 vaccine, drug maker AstraZeneca said Friday that it has the green light from the Food and Drug Administration to resume its vaccine trial in the U.S. It had been on pause since September after a volunteer in Britain developed a neurological condition. The head of the National Institutes of Health is growing increasingly worried that even after a safe vaccine is approved, a growing number of Americans may not be willing to take it. A recent CNN poll found 45% would not try to get a vaccine even if one was widely available, possibly allowing the virus to stick around for years, says Dr. Francis Collins.
I've been talking so optimistically about how we are likely to have a vaccine by the end of the year, but if only 50% of Americans are interested in taking it, we're never going to get to that point of immunity across the population where this COVID-19 goes away.
This week, an updated model published in the journal Nature forecasts some possible grim scenarios, suggesting that we could see up to 1 million COVID deaths in the U.S. by the end of February if social distancing mandates are eased and only about half the population wears masks in public. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, tells CNN he thinks the U.S. should just mandate mask use.
I get the argument, say, well, if you mandate a mask, then you're going to have to enforce it, and that'll create more of a problem. Well, if people are not wearing masks, then maybe we should be mandating it.
This weekend, Big Ten football is back, prompting some of the mayors in college towns involved to ask the conference for help fighting the spread of the virus. The mayors wrote that football games, quote, generate a lot of activity, social gatherings, and the consumption of alcohol. These activities within our communities have also been associated with an increased spread of COVID-19.
Staying with coronavirus news tonight, an inside look at an unprecedented series of tests that prove airline cleaning techniques do effectively kill the coronavirus. University of Arizona and Boeing researchers used a live but harmless virus to test the cleaning process on real planes. Chris Van Cleve has more on the study and what it means about the safety of flying in a pandemic.
University of Arizona researchers working with Boeing are applying a live virus that's harmless to humans but more resilient than COVID-19 to airplane surfaces flyers are most likely to touch. They then applied the enhanced cleaning techniques airlines have been rolling out since the pandemic began. Disinfectants, electrostatic sprayers, antimicrobial coatings, and this ultraviolet light wand Boeing developed to clean cockpits. The researchers found all 4 procedures were shown to effectively kill COVID.
All of these processes and technologies together can give us a virus-free airplane.
This follows research from the Department of Defense and DARPA using a test dummy that simulates a coughing passenger. During each test, the dummy spewed out 180 million particles. That's the equivalent to thousands of coughs. When the dummy wore a mask, testing found on average just 0.003% of the particles reached another passenger's breathing zone.
Specifically, can I tell you sit in seat XYZ? No, they all performed very well.
This week, 7 months into the pandemic, the CDC strongly recommended people wear a mask when flying, are in a transit hub, on mass transit, or in a rideshare. Airbus says its research found if passengers wear masks, the number of droplets reaching another passenger is lower than what it would be on the ground with social distancing because of the plane's air circulation and hospital-grade filtration systems. Infectious disease expert Dr. Carlos Del Rio.
It's just not one thing. It's sort of adding all those different things really makes plane travel very, very safe.
Critics say this research has been done by the airline industry, and there are skeptics who say it's really hard to get a clear number on the spread because so many cases are asymptomatic and contact tracing is lacking in the U.S. Separate from the safety questions, state leaders are asking people to rethink non-essential of any kind of travel across the country.
What a day it has been. Absolutely stunning out there. Look at the highs that we got to. 80 degrees in Ocean City, 79 in Salisbury, 79 in Easton. Hello, it was a wonderful day. But tomorrow we're definitely going to see that change, and it starts right now because that's where that cloud cover is building. Now we do have a cold front. It's pretty much just offshore now. You can notice there are a few spotty showers just across the bay. That'll eventually go into Accomack County. Then a few spotty showers might develop once more rain starts to get going on that radar, and then it crosses into the peninsula for us overnight as that cold front comes on through. But it's going to be a pesky thing for the next 24 hours or so because this blob of moisture is also going to be traveling right along with this cold front. So as we work our way to the overnight hours through your day tomorrow, the chances are really going to grow and grow, of course. How much rain are we going to be getting? About 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. Now, when it comes to the winds right now, they're only going to get gustier too. We can see those gusts around 20 miles per hour, especially for those of you along the coastal areas as we go into the overnight hours once more from that cold front passing through. Now today, they were out of the southwest. They have already shifted out of the north. That's that cold front working its magic already. Again, it's not quite changing the temperatures just yet, but when you wake up tomorrow morning, that's where we're going to fall or be right around 48 to 53 degrees, introducing a few spotty showers. It will be cooler. It will be breezier. Again, gusts tonight around 15, 20 miles per hour through tomorrow. But to break it down further on that futurecast, here goes the rest of the evening. Cloud cover definitely across the area. Temperatures continuing to dip. There's those winds out of the north. Notice the spotty showers. They're continuing to stay across the bay. But then once you wake up on Sunday morning, that's where the shower chances will really start to increase. So if you're going out to church tomorrow morning, you might want that umbrella handy, if not a good hooded jacket, especially because those temperatures need something to keep you warm and dry, of course. But the wind's still out of the north throughout the entire day. That's why, look at this, we're only going to stay near the mid to upper 50s through your day tomorrow. Might not even make it to the 50s in some areas. The beaches will be a tad bit warmer because the oceans are starting to help us stay warmer when it comes to this system. Not necessarily everywhere though, but again, the rain continues to swarm across the area as that cold front / low pressure system continue to move on out. And then just a few lingering showers once you wake up on Monday morning for work and school. We'll also be on another warming trend, not necessarily due to those winds, just a new system definitely arrives into that forecast on Monday, though. The sun should be back out. I think this model is a tad bit heavy when it comes to that, but we should stay rather dry until we get to Tuesday once again. But here's how much rain we can expect. I do think this model is also a little heavy. Some of the higher resolution models indicate about a quarter to half an inch, but of course some areas locally can see a little bit more than that. It's just a good one to stay indoors and watch some Netflix and football for your Sunday. Could also be a little bit of a drizzle, if not the rain showers. But the chances, do grow for your Sunday, not so much on Monday, but then they will continue to increase with the rain chances for your Tuesday and Wednesday. But look at the temps. Only Sunday's the cool day, 59 degrees. We go back into the 70s for your Monday, 68 for Tuesday. That's where we actually stay closer to the average. 66 is the average high this time of year.
All right, thank you, Heidi. Keeping the Chesapeake Bay clean and full of life is vital to life on the peninsula. And this weekend on Outdoors Delmarva, we see what volunteers are doing to keep it that way. Here's Andrew Tawes with a preview.
Well, we're taking a little break from fishing this week, but what we're going to be learning about is definitely fishing related. Let's see how some people are volunteering their time to make the Chesapeake Bay a better place for underwater habitat. Obviously, these guys are not fishing right now, but what they are doing could improve their chances of catching fish in the future. They're making concrete reef balls, and we've certainly seen evidence that reefs improve fishing as well as marine habitat wherever they are placed. This reef building program is the Living Reef Action Campaign, which is part of the Coastal Conservation Association of Maryland.
We've been running this program for about 5 years throughout the state, and always just work with community and students and volunteers to build reefs and learn about the importance of habitat and make some great fishing spots. We always want to engage communities to understand what's happening out in the water. So much of what happens under the water is out of sight and out of mind. You know, as anglers, we know how to find spots to catch fish, but you don't really understand what's happening down there from an ecological perspective. So we want to educate folks about that. We're teaching some different skills. A lot of the work we do in this program is in schools.
To see the full story and more, tune in to Outdoors Delmarva tonight at 7:30 and 11:30 on WBOC.
All right, one last look at that 7-day forecast, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Tomorrow is not going to be a great day. Rain showers definitely in that forecast. If you don't see the rain showers, it's going to be icky, drizzly, and a little cool with some winds gusting there, 20 miles per hour out of the north. That's why we're only going to see those highs right around 59 degrees. Some areas along the Chesapeake will be lucky if we see the 50s. But it's short-lived because Monday we warm back to near 70 for everyone, partly cloudy skies. Tuesday, a few spotty showers here and there. We dry out once more for your Wednesday.
Don't forget, for news anytime, you can get it now on WBOC.com. Outdoors Delmarva is up next. We'll see you back here tonight for WBOC News at 11. Have a good night.